The body of Ariel Sharon, Israel's former prime minister and general, is lying in state at the Knesset Plaza in Jerusalem for public viewing. We're going to take you live now to some of the scenes, the pictures from there. A military convoy carried the body of Sharon from a military base in central Israel on Sunday morning. It was brought to the Parliament building in Jerusalem to lie in state. Sharon died on Saturday at the age of 85. The public will be able to pay their respects until 1800 local time there in Israel. Sharon's body will then be taken by military convoy for burial at the family ranch in the Negev desert, where he will be laid to rest next to his wife Lily, who died 14 years ago. A state memorial is planned for Monday with the participation of Israeli and world leaders. That's according to the office of Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. U.S. Vice President Joe Biden, former British Prime Minister Tony Blair, the Czech Prime Minister, and the German Foreign Minister Frank-Walter Steinmeier are among those who will attend. Ariel Sharon was one of Israel's most iconic and controversial figures. And for some reaction now to the death of Sharon, we're going to hear from the Palestinian side. We're joined in Ramallah by our correspondent Natalie Carney. Natalie, how do Palestinians see Ariel Sharon's role in the Middle East peace process?
Well, he was certainly a man disliked in this part of the country, or in this part of the territory. He was somebody that they saw as sort of being a problem to the peace process, let's say. He was a very hardcore military man, but then some would say even softened his tone slightly when he became a politician later on in his career. Sharon, though, however, a lot of people are saying was the only man that could bring around peace. And I guess there was a bit of optimism brought about by this softening of tone, as I mentioned, later on in his career. We spoke to one brigadier general who had a lot of experience with Sharon during his time in the military, and said that 60 years of war basically softened this gentleman. And after fighting for 60 years with the Palestinian people and for the Zionist cause, he came to the realization, the conclusion, that a two-state solution was the only way to peace. Ariel Sharon was the only Israeli peacemaker to come to that conclusion, and to use the word occupation as well. So while as much as he was disliked in Palestine for his harsh-handed policies within the area, there was a slight amount of optimism that Sharon could be the only Israeli leader that could bring about an improvement in the peace process.
Now, Natalie, the U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry is working even now to try to broker a peace deal between Israel and the Palestinians. What are some of the Palestinians saying about the effect of Sharon's death on that process?
Well, again, as I mentioned, there was a slight bit of optimism that he could possibly improve the peace process. And now there's a lot more pessimism from a lot of Palestinians I'm speaking to in regards to the Netanyahu government being able to advance the process along. As I mentioned, Sharon sort of softened his tone a bit when he became a politician after 60 years of war. Netanyahu has no such background. As well, his government, his coalition government, have him somewhat handcuffed, some of the Palestinians say. And they realize this, that if Netanyahu in any way was to divert from the very staunch right-winged opinion that he holds, that could bring about sort of a crumbling of the coalition. So the Palestinians see Netanyahu as much more right-winged than Sharon, and handcuffed by his coalition government. So they're very pessimistic. Kerry here or not, a U.S. intervention or not, they're very pessimistic that there's going to be any improvement in the peace process, especially now that Sharon is not around.
Natalie Carney in Ramallah, thank you. Now we're going to go to Israel, where we're joined from Tel Aviv by our correspondent Stephanie Freed. Stephanie, Sharon's body is lying in state there at the Knesset. What can you tell us about the situation there in Israel now?
Well, Clint, I've actually moved up from Tel Aviv to Jerusalem, and I'm right here where people are filing past the coffin where the former prime minister, former military leader, is lying in state. People were literally lined up outside the security entrance as it opened at noon. The steady stream of people from all over the country, all walks of life, all demographics in terms of age, that people have brought their children. We've seen people openly weeping. I talked to one man who said he knew him personally, and that he was overcome with grief. He was crying. He felt that the country had lost a great hero. We've seen members of parliament here. The first person to pay him respect was the president of Israel, Shimon Peres. And now, again, we're watching as a steady stream of people here file past. They have 6 hours. Within the coming hours, many more will continue. Expected turnout here is perhaps several thousand people. Clint?
Now, Stephanie, the state funeral is tomorrow, it's our understanding. What can you tell us about those arrangements for the actual funeral for Ariel Sharon?
Well, here in Jerusalem, where I am, where the coffin is lying in state, there will be an official ceremony in the morning, and then there will be a convoy where that will travel down south to Ariel Sharon's famous ranch. He was very, very proud of his animals, his horses. He loved his sheep, his horses, his dogs, and he's going to be buried there on the ranch beside his wife, who died 14 years ago. There will be that ceremony, or the funeral will be open not only to the public, but also there will be VIPs. People will be coming in from outside of the country, including the U.S. Vice President, also from the Czech Republic, also dignitaries from all over the world who will be coming to speak, including former British Prime Minister Tony Blair, delivering eulogies. So that is tomorrow afternoon. That will be south of here. And essentially, these are the closing hours of people bidding farewell until the funeral tomorrow, when it will be the final farewell. Clint?
Stephanie Freed reporting from Jerusalem. Thank you.